Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have with me for our fireside chat for Center Stage at Meek. Uh, I'm going to say that he himself is a superhero in the world of spoken word. And we're just going to just have a little chat with him, get to know him a little better, understand maybe his mindset a little bit before we go into a treat of a performance. Okay? All right. So I just have some questions that I want to ask you.
I'm going to try.
All right. You'll try to answer them?
I'm going to do my best.
All right. He's going to do his best to answer these questions, guys. So, you often describe yourself as a superhero's apprentice and a relentless learner. What fuels that mindset, and how has it shaped your journey as an artist and an educator?
I would say a number of things fuel that mindset. When I think of apprenticeship, when I think of working under someone, I think of all the things and the people around me that I learn from. For sure, when I think of who I am today, it's definitely a culmination of all the people that have been impactful in my life. I think we meet a lot of different people and they may say 1,000 things to us, but sometimes it'd be that one thing that you remember that resonates with you. They said 1,000 things, but it's this one thing that you said that you'll never forget, and that thing becomes one of your guiding principles or a value that you never forget. And who I am today is the culmination of all those principles and all those values and all those lessons that I learned from people around me.
All right, and those people are who you call the superheroes, and you're their apprentice. Okay.
And certainly all superheroes do not wear capes.
That's right. That is true. That is true. So, as I was getting to know you a little better as an artist, we've spoken a couple of times, and on most of your social media, and when you present yourself, your name is Calvin Maidson Early.
Mm-hmm.
And through conversation, I found that Maidson is not a given name to you by your parent, at least, but it's something that you think really represents who you are and a part of your journey. Tell us a little bit about that and how you came up with that name.
I want to say, first of all, thank you for saying it correctly. Only because I've heard Calvin, Madison, Midson. Also, I grew up in Miami and Little Haiti, and most people, definitely all of my closer Haitian friends, they refuse to say my name right. They can see it written on paper, and it's still Kevin. Calvinson.
Calvinson.
It don't matter. It's Kevin. It's right there on the paper. And made son. I have to even if I put the acronym, sometimes people read it differently. I do not remember. I think I told you before. I'm 38. I'm getting up there in age. When you get to be my age, at the ripe old age of 38, some of you get it. When you get to be up here in your eldership at 38, things you don't recall the way that you used to. You get it, right? And so I don't remember how I came up with Maidson. I know that it's a name that I gave myself, and I know that it means as much to me today as whenever I came up with it. Maidson is an acronym for made something out of nothing.
All right. I like it, yes. So you emphasize also aha moments in your life, in situations, and these you call also teachable moments.
Mm-hmm.
And small victories. Can you share a personal story where one of those moments changed you or someone that you worked with?
A mentor of mine used to always say, a few things. One of those was play in your brilliant zone. And the poetry potluck is a community engagement that I do on a quarterly basis, right? And the concept of a potluck is everybody brings something to the table. So everybody brings a bunch of different dishes and we all sit down and we eat. Who we are is what we bring to the table. Our lives and so much of what we do is a potluck. One day I was sitting back and I was thinking about the expansion and the growth of this thing that started in my backyard. And I knew what it required, but I was having challenges with figuring out how to fill those spaces. And then I said to myself, find people who are already playing in their brilliant zone. Find people who are already gifted at a thing and are passionate about the thing and are just looking for a platform or a place to exercise that. And it was the first time I had the aha moment of what it meant to allow people to play in their brilliant zone, and then furthermore to be able to provide a platform for them to do so.
Okay, so your aha came together with your own brilliance, because
Thank you.
poetry potluck is something that, as far as I can see, the community needed, because you bring so many things together. But we'll talk about that a little later on as well. So you're an alumnus of Miami-Dade College. How did your time as a student here at Miami-Dade College shape your growth, artistically, personally, or even professionally?
I got a lot of things out of my time taking classes at Miami-Dade. I think my philosophy class. I took two philosophy classes, but when I first started to get into or interested in philosophy, I had heard about it, but I had never studied. And I was like, there used to be a time where we lived in a world where these guys just sat around and thought. And then the more that I learned, I was like, oh, it's people still getting paid to sit around and think. Like, that's their whole job in life.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about their thoughts. And they're coming up with theories about what the world is and why the world is and how we think and how we behave. And that is so useful when you're on stage. It really opens you up to how you might be able to affect people. If I come to the stage and I present a piece of work, my entire objective is to affect the people watching it. If they're here, they should be impacted. They should be able to take something from it. If I can't create a moment that creates a conversation beyond this point, I'm not sure what I'm doing. And I really learned that from learning more about philosophy, which got me interested in sociology and anthropology and just human behavior in general.
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow. So those are, some of the core classes here at Miami-Dade College that you just spoke about. I myself am an adjunct faculty member. I teach social science courses, specifically psychology.
You get it.
So I definitely get it, and I could see how, even in the work that you do, you use emotional intelligence, because it's a give and take. You're looking at your audience, you're reading the room, you're deciding on how you're going to deliver that next line. All righty. So let's talk about the poetry potluck. You spoke about it a little bit earlier, and you also have what you call the spoken word exchange, right? What inspired these initiatives? I know you talked about the fact that, it started out in your backyard, you were barbecuing, amongst family, your cousins, as you call the people that perform and come to your potlucks, right?
Yep.
So just tell me, what inspired these initiatives? How do they create connection and social change?
Okay. I was already doing barbecues, and I was really just testing out my budding barbecue skills on people who are down to come and get free food. Nobody's going to really complain about my burnt chicken if they want to eat for free. So I'm testing this out on people, and I invite poets, because poets usually don't like, a lot of times poets, they're creatives, struggling. They can't wait for a free meal. So this is a great audience to test this out on. And I say, well, you bring a dish and I'll bring a dish, and we'll let DJ Oxcord play the music, and I'll put out some Uno cards and some spades, well, just regular cards. And everybody had a great time, and the next thing I know, somebody said, yo, when are we doing another one of those poetry potlucks?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's do it. One thing generally feeds into another.
Wow. So you spoke a little bit about your performances across 6 countries?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned about the universal power of spoken word and how it bridges cultures and communities?
Poetry is, in effect, storytelling. Storytelling connects all communities. Storytelling is the way that we share our experiences, and our experiences, as unique as they are to us individually, when you pull back and you look at the big picture, it's really not completely unique.
And, like you said, when you go, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, the expressions that we make of fear, of happiness, they're usually the same. If you put two babies across two continents and both of them are afraid, that look on their face is usually the same. Disgust is another one. We all have that same look on our face, right?
Yeah.
So I could see how, it doesn't matter where you are. We sort of experience the same thing, and so there's that connectedness. Even if you're in another country, they can understand the words that you're saying and empathize with you in terms of what you're feeling. So over the last 20 years, how have you seen spoken word evolve in its role in education, activism, and even healing? What continues to surprise or excite you about its impact?
I don't know if it continues, well, you said excite. What continues to excite me about the evolution that I see in poetry is that no matter how much it does evolve and things change and it may not sound like it sounded when you first started, or people are different and what we call poetry is different. I actually just had a really interesting experience when I was in New Orleans, where a young lady, before she started her poetry, she said, "I want to be honest and tell you I'm not really a poet. Me and ChatGPT wrote this." And I was like, oh, oh, wait. We writing poems with ChatGPT now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. And that's just because that's the first time somebody said it out loud. That certainly doesn't mean it's the first time it's happened.
No.
I'm sure at some point I've heard a ChatGPT poem, and I didn't know. I wouldn't know the difference. So I was like, wow, what a scary world. But I think what excites me is that I keep seeing young people interested in it. Mm-hmm. That does not change.
You wear many hats. You're an artist, an educator, facilitator, organizer. How do you stay grounded and make space for your own growth and healing while you're pouring into so many other people?
I think the best answer for that is I'm very comfortable with not answering my phone. I'm also I get excited no matter what time of day it is, no matter what time. When I realize I'm about to go home, I am never disappointed ever to go home. And that matters more because I do know what it feels like to not want to go home. I do very well know the feeling of not wanting to go inside your own home. So to be in a time in my life where I'm like, man, this is great, and I'm having a great time right now, and I'm having fun, and I love all of these people, but I can't wait to go home. I cannot wait to go home. So between going home and enjoying going home and enjoying being in my own space, I also enjoy not answering my phone. It's one of my favorite things in the world to just be comfortable with the fact that I don't have to answer that. Whatever I'm doing in front of me, I can continue doing in front of me. People are going to be okay, and if they're not going to be okay, I'm not sure, but like I had to take myself out of always needing to be accessible. I had to remind myself of another lesson that I learned from the same mentor about just you don't always have to be accessible. Everybody shouldn't, always be able to reach you. It suggests that you're not necessarily doing anything of value if these people can always reach you. If you know that I should be busy in this moment right now, but you're calling anyway, you don't value my time. And I have to value my time enough to say, when people call me, especially business-related things, like after 7, I don't even bother to say anything about, like, I don't answer my phone after 7. I don't think there's a better way to say that than not answer my phone after 7. There's no better way to say it. I don't answer my phone to tell people I can't talk right now. I don't answer it.
Right.
I just don't.
Right.
And that's sufficient enough. So I take my own time. I choose to engage, when I have the energy and the space for it. I also don't feel like anybody deserves half of my energy. I don't feel like anybody deserves me being on a conversation that I have no desire to be in. You know what I mean? So I just reserve that for myself.
So you give yourself permission.
Yes.
To take time to do what you're doing that's important to you.
Yes.
And not necessarily be interrupted. Okay.
Even if that means I'm doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Doing nothing is what I'm doing right now. Sometimes people will hear like people will call you like, what you doing? Well, I'm not doing nothing. But before you say anything else, I want to not be doing nothing. I'm not looking for anything to fill up this time with. Like me doing nothing is not a way. Thank God you're not busy. Well, listen. Nah, you missed that completely.
Yeah, that's where you want to be.
I could have just not answered the phone.
Right. Exactly. All right. So you often work with youth and educators alike. What role do you believe education plays in unlocking creativity, confidence, and the possibility of creativity, especially for young people in underserved communities?
One of the things that I noticed from working in the classroom for many years is that education can be a barrier to confidence. If a student is not picking up on concepts that they're supposed to be picking up on in the classroom, it's very easy to be discouraged. Certainly in Miami, like, you know, picking on people culture is whatever, or bullying culture, whatever it is, it's a norm, right? And the student may not say anything because everybody's joking, but you feel it. And so it becomes a barrier. When I found that students get into art programs, things like spoken word poetry, where the only goal is to write your own story and write about you, and you're able to get wins off of telling your own story, it builds up a little bit more confidence to try a little bit harder. Or I want to do that poem a little bit better, so I know that I need to learn this a little bit better. And the students who speak out loud and who are performing on a regular basis are oftentimes a little more brave about speaking up in class, even just saying, I don't know. I don't understand. I'm having challenges with that because I'm getting wins in other places. So even though I don't feel like I'm winning over here, it's not that bad because I'm getting my win somewhere. But if I don't feel like I'm winning anywhere, then that just becomes discouraging on top of discouraging on top of discouraging until I'm sitting in the corner and I'm not talking. So when you give that student access or an outlet, it usually helps to build that confidence.
Yep. And I mean, you can't lose talking about yourself and your own experiences. So when
Nobody
you get
knows you better than you.
Exactly. So when you can get students in that mindset that it's okay to speak about you, speak about your joys, speak about your pain, and who's going to tell you you're wrong? Who's going to challenge that? It's you. It's yours.
Absolutely.
You own it. You know, you can win just thinking and writing about yourself. All right. So tell me, what would you want the audience, what message or feeling would you hope that the audience carries with them after hearing you tonight and the words that you'll offer?
So I'll say what you started with when you the first thing that you asked. So that's the creating aha moments, taking advantage of teachable moments, and acknowledging small victories. We have opportunities to create aha moments for ourselves, but just by being open enough to what we're listening, by being receptive to a message, seeking a message, and then a teachable moment. In that moment, if you take what you've learned and you immediately tell someone else, you're a lot more likely to remember it. Like, it really helps with comprehension and then your own general understanding of it, even being able to put it in your own words and make it more meaningful for yourself. So tonight, as you listening to me, if you find something and you have an aha moment or something that hits you, I encourage you to write it down. I encourage you to share, and then once you write it down, I encourage you to share it immediately with somebody else or post it online. I just heard this thing and it shook me, or a quote, and share that with somebody. It might be just the word that they needed to hear. We have no idea. That in and of itself is a small victory. If you have found something that made your time useful, even if it's one quote, that in and of itself is a victory for you today. And hopefully those words will also circle back at some point. So it's being open enough to find something here for you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was good. Mr. Calvin made something out of nothing early.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank